Phoenix, Arizona, a sprawling metropolitan area that over 1.7 million people call home. Its diversity and vast desert landscape make for a beautiful destination for any tourist. But that all changed in the summer of 2006 when not one, but two serial killers stalked the streets at night, frightening the population into utter panic. The baseline killer and the serial shooter have forever dubbed Phoenix's summer of 2006 as the Summer of Fear. The serial shooter struck first on June 29, 2005, when he shot and killed a 20-year-old David Estrada. David was walking alone down the street when the shooter stuck his gun out of his car window and fired 3 shots. Later on that night, a horse was also found shot and killed by the same caliber gun. The fear had not yet set in, as unfortunately, this is a common occurrence in Phoenix. But then on July 20th, the shooter struck again, wounding a horse and killing a dog. Perhaps he was getting his satisfaction from killing animals and wanted to try killing a human and didn't like it. Enter the baseline killer. On August 6, 2005, a man identified as a light-skinned black man lured 3 girls behind a church near Baseline Road and molested them. Then on August 14, 2005, a woman's house was broken into and she was robbed and sexually assaulted. She also lived near Baseline Road. Then on September 28, 2005, 19-year-old Georgia Thompson was shot in the head in her apartment complex near Baseline Road. A bullet casing was found that would come in handy later on. Then, on September 20th, 2005, a sexual assault occurred on a vineyard road in the Levine Vineyard Park. While walking home, 2 sisters, one who was visibly pregnant at the time, were held at gunpoint. The man, who was described as a light-skinned black man, sexually assaulted one sister while holding the gun to the pregnant belly of the other. Now, this date remains important for 2 reasons. DNA evidence was recovered from the woman, and this was the night the baseline killer was originally known as the Baseline Rapist. News of this concerned women throughout the Phoenix area.
Super Parent Patrol.
We only have a very vague description of the rapist, a slender black man, 20 to 21 years old, 5'9" to 5'11", with very short black hair. We're told he was wearing a blue and white shirt and baggy jeans. Police believe someone must have seen something here at 7th Street in Carson around 7:15 this morning. They're asking anyone who saw anything or anyone with any other information to come forward and give them a call.
On September 28, 2005, a robbery occurred at a house on Baseline Road. Luckily, no one was home. But that's not the same story for the next house he hit, near there, where a woman was robbed and sexually assaulted. The Baseline Rapist was at it again. All was quiet until November. On November 3, 2005, a robbery and sexual assault occurred. A robbery occurred on North 32nd Street. A man with dreadlocks and a fisherman's hat walked into a shop and robbed it at gunpoint for $720. Less than 10 minutes later, he abducted a woman placing items in a parking lot donation receptacle across the street. He sexually assaulted her in her car and demanded she drive him to the corner because he just committed a robbery. The victim said he wore a Halloween costume and black plastic glasses. And on November 7th, a string of robberies occurred, starting with 4 people being held at gunpoint inside Las Brasas, a Mexican restaurant. He then went next door to a Little Caesars Pizza and robbed 3 people inside. Immediately preceding the pizza restaurant, he robbed 4 more people outside on the street. He reportedly stole a total of $463 and fired a round into the air as he fled. This round was found to match the same round found at the Georgia Thompson case. Police are no longer dealing with the baseline rapist. They are now dealing with the baseline killer. On November 11th, the serial shooter struck again. While walking his dog down the street, 44-year-old Nathaniel Schaffner was shot and killed. The serial shooter shot his dog but only wounded him as Nathaniel Schaffner was protecting his dog from the shooter. On December 12, 2005, at around 6:55 p.m., there was a homicide called in near 40th Street in Phoenix, Arizona. Tina Washington, who was 39 at the time, was on her way home from a preschool where she had worked. A witness spotted a man with a drawn gun standing over her body behind a fast food restaurant. She had been shot in the head. The bullet casing that was found at the scene matched the one found near Georgia Thompson and the other cases. On December 29th, the serial shooter struck again. He first shot and killed a dog. Then he shot a man on the street who was only wounded. But then he shot and killed 44-year-old Jose Ortiz and Marco Carrillo. Then, 1 day later, 3 more dogs were found, shot and killed by the same caliber weapon. At this point in time, Phoenix police are concerned because for the first time in history, 2 serial killers stalked the streets of Phoenix, Arizona. On February 20th, 2006, a homicide occurred at around 7:38 a.m. when the bodies of 38-year-old Romelia Vargas and 34-year-old Myrna Palma Roman were found shot to death inside of their snack truck at 91st Avenue and Lower Buckeye Road. Initially, police did not connect this crime to the baseline killer and believed that the murders were drug-related. The murders were officially linked by police in July of 2006. Then on March 15th, at around 9 p.m., a double homicide was discovered at 4102 North 24th Street in Phoenix. 2 employees of Yoshi's restaurant at 24th and Indian School Road were on their way home in the same vehicle. Liliana Sanchez Cabrera, who was 20, was found dead in the parking lot of another fast food restaurant, while the body of Chow Cho was discovered about a mile away. Both victims were shot in the head. Then on March 29th, another homicide at around midnight on 24th Street in Phoenix. A body was discovered by a local businessman when he noticed streaks of blood on the gravel of a parking lot. The police were called, but a search of the area turned up nothing of real value. But a week later, the same businessman discovered the badly decomposed body of Kristen Nicole Gibbons as he was investigating a horrible odor in the area. She had been shot in the head. A bullet casing was found and matched to the other baseline killings. Then on May 1st, at around 9 p.m. at 2950 North 32nd Street in Phoenix, a man in a latex Halloween mask abducted a woman in a car and sexually assaulted her at gunpoint. She was taken from outside the same restaurant where the November 7th, 2005 crimes had occurred. On May 2nd, the serial shooter struck again, shooting and killing Claudia Gutierrez Cruz, who was 20 years old at the time. She was simply walking down the street in Scottsdale, Arizona. Then on May 5th of 2006, Phoenix police went public with a list of 18 crimes that they believed were the work of the Baseline Killer. This number had since risen to 23 as of August 2nd, 2006. On May 17th, the serial shooter decided to stab a man who was inside of a parking lot. Then between May 30th and June 8th, the serial shooter went on a rampage, shooting and wounding many people walking on the side of the street. Luckily, no one was killed between those times. Then on June 8th, the serial shooter decided to take a turn and commit 2 separate arsons within minutes of each other at 2 Walmart stores in Phoenix. Then on June 11th, a woman was shot in the left hip while riding her bicycle down the street. And then on June 20th, 2 more men were shot while walking down the street. Luckily, they both survived. On June 29th, 2006 at around 9:30 p.m., a homicide occurred on 2924 East Thomas Road in Phoenix. Carmen Miranda, who was 37 at the time, was abducted from a self-service car wash while she was talking on her cell phone. She was found dead from a gunshot to the head behind a barber shop about 100 yards away. This attack was captured on closed-circuit television, and this would be the last crime attributed to the Baseline Killer. Throughout the month of July, the serial shooter went on a shooting spree, starting on July 1st when he shot a woman and a man who were both walking. Luckily, they both survived. Then on the 3rd, a man was shot while pushing his bicycle on the sidewalk. Then on the 8th, another victim was shot in the back of the head while walking. He did not survive. Then on the 8th, a man was shot in the torso while walking. He did survive, however, he spent the rest of his life in a wheelchair because of this. Then on July 30th, the final murder took place with the serial shooter when Robin Blasnick, who was 22 at the time, was fatally shot while walking down the street in Mesa, Arizona. According to police reports, they first identified 2 suspects in connection with the serial shooter case, Dale Hausner and Samuel Diedemann, on July 31, 2006 through tips received from the community. On August 3, 2006, police arrested both suspects outside of their apartment in Mesa, Arizona, which is a suburb of Phoenix. On the morning of August 4, 2006, Phoenix police announced the arrest to media in connection with the serial shooters.
Hausner takes his plea to the court of public opinion and holds a press conference in jail.
How is it that you're here then, sir?
Why I'm here is because I have Sam Dietman staying with me for about 5 weeks, and apparently at night Sam had been taking my car out and using various weapons that I have in my house to commit crimes.
Dale's press conference really confirmed with me the psychopathic nature of his personality. He was a master manipulator and a masterful liar.
Are you the serial shooter?
Absolutely not.
Sam Dietman, within 5 minutes of my interviewing him, gave up Dale Hausner as one of the serial shooters.
Brought this little shotgun, fired at some fat guy who was walking down the road.
What does Dale do after he fires?
He kind of chuckles a little bit and puts a gun down beside his leg.
They also linked them to the 2 arson fires at the Walmart stores on June 8th, which were started 45 minutes from each other, and they caused approximately $7 to $10 million in damage. Dale Hausner, who was 33, had worked as a custodian at Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport since 1999 and was also a boxing photojournalist for Ring Sports. Samuel Diedemann, who was 31, had a long history of petty crimes such as shoplifting and drunk driving, and had returned to Arizona a few years prior from Minnesota. During the trial, Hausner was convicted of 6 of the 8 murders and 80 out of 87 charges overall on March 13, 2009. Hausner was charged with 87 crimes attributed to the serial shooter investigation, including the 8 murders, 19 attempted murders, numerous aggravated assaults, drive-by shootings, firearm charges, cruelty to animals, and arson. Hausner's former roommate, Samuel Diedemann, also pleaded guilty to 2 murders plus conspiracy to commit some of the other related murders. Sentencing began on March 27, 2009, where Dale Hausner was sentenced to 6 death penalties. Hausner had previously ordered his lawyers not to argue against persuading jurors to deliver the death sentences, saying the jurors should put him to death to help the victims' families heal. He fell short of confessing any guilt for the convicted crimes. During Hausner's half-hour ramble to jury right before sentencing, he apologized to several people, including his family. He stated that he ruined the family name as people would hear the Hausner name and think of Charles Manson. He even compared himself to Manson. When you think of Manson, 50 years from now, you'll think of Hausner, he said. On June 19, 2013, Dale Hausner was found unresponsive in his cell and died later that day. His autopsy revealed no physical trauma. The medical examiner determined that he had killed himself with an overdose of antidepressants that he was saving up. On September 4, 2006, Phoenix police announced an arrest in connection with a sexual assault previously linked to the Baseline Killer while serving a search warrant at 28th Street. 42-year-old construction worker Mark Goudreau was arrested and charged with attacking 2 sisters on September 20, 2005, while they were walking home from a Phoenix City park at night. Goudreau was linked to the attack by matching DNA evidence found on the victims. He was tried and convicted on all 19 counts connected to the assault and sentenced to 438 years in prison. At this point, Goudreau is still awaiting trial on 74 criminal charges linked to the Baseline Killer investigation. During the trial, the 2 sisters gave testimony that Goudreau suddenly approached them with a gun in his hand. They were forced into a nearby bush and told to remove their clothing. The victim said Goudreau sexually assaulted the younger sister as he pointed his gun at the other sister's pregnant abdomen. Prosecutors said Goudreau warned the women not to look at his face during the assault. They also stated he rubbed dirt on one of the women to remove saliva traces, and wore a condom during the assault on one of the sisters. Then, 3 months later on December 7, 2006, after Goudreau was arrested, Phoenix police said they were confident he was responsible for the full series of murders, rapes, and robberies that terrorized the city for 13 months. Goudreau is believed to have committed 9 murders, 1 more than originally attributed to the Baseline Killer. Police say ballistics, DNA, and circumstantial evidence proved that Goudreau is the Baseline Killer. They were recommending that prosecutors charge Goudreau with 74 crimes, including 9 counts of first-degree murder, 5 counts of sexual assault, 3 counts of attempted sexual assault, 10 counts of kidnapping, 12 counts of armed robbery, 4 counts of attempted armed robbery, 3 counts of sexual abuse, 9 counts of sexual conduct with a minor, 13 counts of aggravated assault, and 3 counts of indecent exposure. Then finally, on November 30th, 2011, a Phoenix jury sentenced Goudreau to death on the murder charges related to the Baseline killings. Goudeau is now held on death row in ASPC Florence, the Arizona State Prison. So now let's talk about the mishandling of the baseline killer evidence. In April of 2009, the Phoenix Times, a publication in the Phoenix metro area, published a story revealing that the Phoenix Police Department had possessed key DNA evidence from the two sisters that was eventually used to crack the baseline killer case 9 months before Goudeau was arrested, but they had failed to timely analyze that information. So had they analyzed it in a timely manner, all of those murder victims would still possibly be alive today. Samuel Diedemann still remains in prison with life without the possibility of parole and is housed at ASPC Safford. And Mark Goudeau still remains on death row in ASPC Florence. Thank you very much for watching. I would ask that you please like and subscribe this video and make sure you click the bell for notifications when I have a new video coming out. I will be coming at you soon with some more true crime videos. So I just want to say thank you all for watching, and everybody who has subscribed in the past. It really helps me continue on with these projects. So again, thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for more.